Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce's Government Affairs Committee meeting for the month of August. Thank you so much for being flexible with us as we did decide to take our meetings back virtual for this month while we all endure this next round of COVID spiking. Hopefully you are all safe and healthy and well. And I just wanted to mention, if you have not met me yet, my name is Jennifer Sugarman. I am the president and CEO of the Chamber. And very excited to have you here this morning, even more excited to have the port with us this morning, who's been a wonderful chamber partner for many, many, many years. And we have Wayne Justice, who's the chairman of the Port Commission this morning, who's going to be presenting. But before we get to that, I just want to say a huge welcome and kick it over to our chair for this year, Miss Ashley Wood.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy Friday. Can anyone believe it's August already? I feel like July went by super fast. I would like to introduce Caitlyn Lewis. She is going to be joining me as a co-chair for the remainder of this year and into next year. And so you'll start seeing emails from both of us or one of us. So we'll kind of tag team this as we move forward. We will have our September meeting September 3rd. And I think that's all I have for right now. So I am going to kick it over to Commissioner Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Let me get my screen up. That's what I'm trying to do.
We can see it. It looks like it's up. You just have to put it in presentation mode. So if you hit that from beginning on the top left with the green triangle in the middle of that square, it says from beginning underneath it, you should be good to go.
All right, say that again.
If you're looking at your screen and you see your slideshow, go see your mouse.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, from beginning. I also expect a commission for helping with the port's IT.
We got it. Yeah, no, we got it. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Real pleasure to have a chance to make this presentation. If you don't know me, I start with a couple of slides just to say who I am. I'm a retired 37-year Coast Guard guy. Spent a lot of time on ships like this. The last ship was like this, and just what I did most of my career was pick up migrants and then make drug seizures. My last drug seizure was a 10 tons of cocaine in one place at one time. So that's what 10 tons of coke looks like out in the middle of the ocean. Anyhow, that said, been with the Port Commission now for 6+ years, and I've enjoyed the heck out of it. We've had a wonderful run, a pretty exciting year, a better challenging year is probably a better way to put it, but it's a good time to give a presentation because we're back. Just to kick off here, this is the port, but every bit of water here is not ours. And this bit of water on the northeast side belongs to the Navy and the Air Force. They've been there for a long time as well. They bring in big submarines. They take intercontinental ballistic missiles and they make them safe. And then they, here's a picture of a missile of a submarine here, and they go out and they launch those things. So that and there's thousands of jobs that are tied into that world. That's part of the port as well. Just on a history side, we're a landlord port. We are a chartered special district, just like the county, and so we have 1,000 dry acres, and we are elected, which has its own extraordinarily fun, no, not really, dynamics. And we're elected, we hire our CEO. We're a taxing district. We could tax everybody. The northern half of the county is our district, the top six cities on the north side of the county. But we have not levied a tax since 1986. We have a business model that generates revenues and we operate off of them. We've been able to do that even through this most recent challenging times. 2 years ago, we really hit our stride. We had over $109 million in revenue. We had $4 billion of economic impact, thousands of jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, COVID struck, and we lost, those 11,000 associated jobs, over $1 billion expenditures, et cetera, et cetera. But we've had to do like everybody else. What do? Well, we cut our costs drastically. We stopped our capital projects, reduced our contracts, and unfortunately, we had to send more than half of our staff home. That's obviously been tough for everybody. However, we've ridden through the times, and I'm going to go ahead and give you an update now on our specifically our cruise and cargo worlds and in our revenue generation cycle, and how close we are to coming back. And just again, a visual understanding of how our port is broken up. You've got cruise and cargo on the north side. On the south side, it's much more intertwined. We are an open port. Don't lose that. I mean, again, for the chamber, you understand this. Between Jetty Park, our Marina District, the Cove with all our restaurants, we have more recreational space on this port than the other 14 ports in the state of Florida combined. Okay, so it makes a unique situation here where we have to where we're maintaining recreational and openness on the security side, as well as having nuclear submarines and huge cruise ships, being kept safe. But we're happy to do it because that's how our port is run. A main theme I like to drive home right now before I get into our specific business lines. In the last, certainly 4 or 5 years, we've taken a little different attitude toward our port. We've recognized and understand that what matters here is this thing right here, this channel, a deep water channel. And what's attached to the deep water channel is our deep water berths. And that's really where the business is. The business in a port is on the water. And when you start getting into the other business lines that, like, let's say restaurants or hotels or whatever else you may be, that's not truly what we'll spend time on them, but we really spend time on optimizing our use and our access on our deep water, such that 4 years ago we dredged the whole thing. We made it 100 feet wider, and we've got a port channel that will fit all of our assets. Any ship that wants to come in here, we can fit it, at least from the depth and the size of the channel. The bulkhead space is the next challenge, and of course we're consistently trying to optimize the use of that. Cruise, of course, is our bread and butter. Terminal 1 was built 6-7 years ago, and the largest cruise ships in the world come out of there. 2019, we turned ground on Cruise Terminal 3 for Carnival. We had it built in a year. That's what the artist thought it was going to look like, and that's what it ended up looking like. And it is I think some of you had a chance to get in there the last couple of weeks. It is spectacular. It is as fine a cruise terminal as there is in the world right now. And Carnival Cruise Lines constructed its brand new $1 billion top of the line, nicest ship in their fleet, the Carnival Mardi Gras, and it is now in our port. A couple weeks ago, we gave the key to Terminal 3 to the CEO of Carnival, Christine Duffy, and the ship came here tied up and is actually, I'm not sure how many of you want to sign up to do this, but they actually offer this experience when you're out at sea. A ship sailed on Saturday with 4,000 paying passengers, and it's due back in this weekend, and we're pretty excited. A whole lot of effort on literally hundreds of people's parts and all over, up and down, from our governor right on down, to get this ship back, all these ships back up and running, and we realized it, and we're starting to gear back up. I think we're due to have 4 ships sailing this weekend, and I'll take questions on that later. We've got a whole lot to I can update on and talk about. One of more, and as important, one of the unique moving forward, one of the unique situations we have with that ship is powered by liquefied natural gas. And to do that, Carnival Cruise Line, Shell Oil, and of course we at the port, we need a way to get liquefied natural gas into our port. There's a picture of the new bunker barge. It's a barge that brings the LNG in. If you haven't seen a ship get launched, this is how you do it. This is a 400-foot ship, and it just slides into the river. And the tug that goes along with it is part of it brings it on down. The ship picks up its liquefied natural gas up in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. This is Elba Island, where a huge production facility fills it up with 1 million gallons of liquefied natural gas. Comes down into Port Canaveral. It ties up to the ship, and it pumps 500,000 gallons onto the ship. And that's the situation we have right now. Liquefied natural gas is the fuel of the future. It's cleaner. It is less expensive, and most importantly, it's made in the United States. Next year, Disney has 3 new ships coming. The first one comes next year. All 3 of them are going to be liquefied natural gas powered as well. So that truly is our fuel of the future. We are the first terminal in the United States, first port in the United States to offer liquefied natural to a cruise ship. We're really excited about that, as well as the cruise industry is. This is a brand new 60-foot tugboat that has the ability to fight LNG fires if there is one, which we certainly don't plan on having, but we're ready for it. It's all about the safety side of it. Last year, we, in spite of COVID, we were fortunate to have already let a contract and have money in place. Disney wanted to spruce up its terminal. It was getting into the 25-year-old thing, and so we put $26 million into the terminal last year, and this is what we did to it. But when you get a chance to, when Disney starts sailing again, come on out and check this brand new terminal out. It's spruced up, looks pretty nice. Basically, all we did was expand everything, but while we expanded it, we kept the Disney traditional look and feel to the place, and it's really special. Most importantly, it's just more air-conditioned arrival space, really, at the bottom. At the end of the day, is what matters. So they're bringing in a bigger ship, going to have more capacity, and thus is going to need more service area. They're also going to spill over, because they've got more ships sailing. They're going to be sailing out of Terminal 10 as well. That's got some more sprucing up for Disney. Most importantly, the most important piece to the whole project is this new boarding ladder. Now, every one of our terminals, we've redone all of our terminals now in the last 7 years. Every one of them's got this brand new articulating boarding ladders, which allows multiple types of ship to tie up at each terminal. It gives us a lot of flexibility, plus it's comfortable. So we get back to this, and that's what we're looking ahead to. Disney will be sailing this month with paying passengers, and we're really excited about that as well. I'm not going to get too much into the nuances of the cruise restart. At the end, I'm happy to take questions and talk more about it. The bottom line is there's two choices. Either the cruise lines like Carnival are asking you to have a vaccination. 95% of the people will have a vaccination. If not, you will be tested, and you had to pay for it. the testing, et cetera, et cetera. That's one model. The other model is you will be, you're not required to have a vaccination, but you will be tested. You're asking for a test 3 days at a time. They're asking for a test when you get on board. You get tested when you get off. It's just going to be a whole lot of testing. That's Disney's on that path, of course, because they've got a more youthful focus, on their passengers. So either way, it's going to work, and it's happening. And we're going to get back to these good old days on a weekend when we would have 35,000 people get off and 35,000 people get on, and that's we're headed back to, which of course improves the business world for everybody, whether you're in transportation and logistics, hotels, whatever. The whole community, as we know, all thrives off of our cruise industry, which is coming back. Shifted to cargo. In the last 14 months, we've worked real hard to expand our cargo business because we really to keep our revenues up and running. On a port here, we've got a big fuel farm where every drop of gas in this county comes from this fuel farm. Plus all the international flight fuel over in Orlando comes out of here this is all by truck. Ambassador Services, we've got a growing and huge frozen food import business up here with Ambassador. This right here is aggregate of small rocks go on a conveyor belt, and they get put in a truck and they go to Orlando for the I-4 project. We've been doing that for 10 years. We'll be doing that for 10 more because the I-4 project never ends, right? Our container stuff is up here. We'll get more focused on this as we talk. That's a fuel ship offloading gas or aviation fuel or diesel. Morton Salt is here. Morton Salt, one of the largest plants probably in the nation. They mine it down in the Bahamas, they bring it up here, and they offload it, and then they package it, and then they ship it out. That's a booming business, particularly because they also now make sea salt, which we all think is better than regular salt, and we all buy it now. It's a great American story. We've invested in the last couple of years on a brand new mobile harbor crane that 102 tires makes it mobile. We move it around the port to operate it. Most important, what's changed, the biggest change in the last year is truly every open acre on the port, whether on the north side or the south side, you drive around the port, you see piles of this lumber. This is lumber. The demand for lumber is nonstop between Jacksonville and Orlando and here. The construction is nonstop. The demand for lumber is nonstop. We don't have enough room to put all our lumber where it needs to go. 2 weeks ago, we had the largest delivery, one single delivery of lumber in the history of our port, and we take it all off and we ship it all out, and another ship comes in. So there's just a little data point from a business perspective of a commodity that is coming through here, and it really truly affects our area. I'm going to shift here and talk what's truly changed in the last 3 years and on the port, and it's still growing and expanding, of course, is the commercial space piece to it. And it's not visible from a port side, I think, to a lot of people, but it's here. We've got rockets that go up and they come back down and they land on a barge, and the barge gets brought back into the port. It gets video or viewed by everybody. Sometimes it barely gets back into the port, but comes back in, and then our crane, and this mobile harbor crane is the tallest in the nation, specifically built to be able to be high enough to lift the Falcon 9 booster off of the barge. And so that's what we do. There's two of them in, ready to get lifted off, and we lift it up, and we and then that gets laid down and sent up back to Kennedy Space Center, where it gets refurbished and used again. Some of our pier space is also taken up by the rest of SpaceX. This is SpaceX's capsule recovery. There's a capsule that the people come back down in from the International Space Station. It gets lifted out of the water, and the helicopter takes people off. But these guys tie up here, and so SpaceX has got a significant footprint at the port as well. And it also, the visuals of having that rocket come back in has done a lot. Again, that's added a lot of juice to the whole thing. So what's next, of course, is next year, Blue Origin comes in. Here's a Falcon 9 rocket. Here's Blue Origin's rocket. A lot bigger rocket. What happens with that? That rocket also lands on a big ship, and it has to go someplace. What we've done in the last few years, keeping up with this, actually trying to stay ahead of it, is we've retonned that piece of land. We've put in a brand new cargo berth, over 1,000-foot cargo berth that has got reinforced asphalt for cargo operations, but very specifically for a 600-foot Blue Origin ship to tie up with a rocket on it that we can remove and move around. So we're, again, trying to, I don't say stay, we're staying ahead and certainly being a partner and a part of the unending growth in commercial space around here, which is truly a business driver. What did we learn after this last year? You got to keep pushing on. There's new technologies available that we've embraced at the port. In the next 6 months, a year, almost all of our terminals will have a facial recognition cycle going on from the different cruise lines, and the boarding and embarking and debarking will be even that much quicker as the security side of it is taken care of with the new technology. As we reinvest our monies here, which is what we do, resiliency obviously is more important than ever, and also the ability to use your facilities in flexible manners. The other piece, of course, and I think most of you who know us, we are intimately, we're not a port with a wall around it. We are totally a community asset with no walls around the port. And we work diligently with all of the regional transportation people to keep, again, ahead of the challenges that we've got regionally transportation-wise. And of course, it starts with whether it's federal, state, local. We are engaged, and we've really a lot has changed in the last 6 years in the port there, as far as really working and getting ahead, and also leveraging all the assets that these people bring to the table to support. And just specifically right now, that drawbridge on the north side of the port, those of you, most of you know it, it's not just for us, it's for the southern end of the Kennedy Space Center, for NO2, all those guys. That this bridge has got to be replaced. It's antique. It's a weak link in the whole system, and that's being studied with FDOT. We of course constantly are moving sand to beaches and keeping the link deep, and we get significant support from state, federal, to add to these projects, which we leverage with our own assets. Our next infrastructure is on the north side of the pier. You can see it from the restaurants, but this pier right here needs to be removed and redone so we can increase, again, some cargo space for us. We've got some significant federal and state funds that we're going to apply along with our own resources. I'm going to talk just for a couple of minutes, because I know you've all seen in the news just last week, our governor came down, and with the Secretary of Transportation came down with a nice check that we finally, because we've gotten zero support from the federal government, from anybody, whereas airports got money from the beginning, other places, everybody's got money to help you through COVID except us. And in this slide, I want to make a point. The lower right-hand number, if you look over the last 8 years, I mean, we average, what we do at Port Canaveral, we get a lot of revenues, and all we do is put them back into port. And we average $90 million a year of expenditures, capital expenditures in the port. Well, this year we had, other than that 25 we did for Disney, we got, that's it. And so we haven't put money into the port. Well, so what happens is, we get a big check. We got this big check, and I just want to show you a picture of a big check, because you don't always get to see that much money on a check. But the reality is that check, you don't get all that money. The reality is it's in the bank account up in the state, and as it starts at this last March, and our expenditures will get paid from this money. We got to produce our bills, and they're going to pay it off. But in the meantime, as we got our revenues coming back, we'll be able to resupply, assist our reserve cash funds, which we had to draw down, of course, during the COVID. So this is a chance to get back on our feet, to continue our operations, and it's greatly appreciated. And again, if we were in a live setting, this would be funnier, but I did have to take a picture holding a $72 million check, even though we don't gonna get much out of it. Here's a teaser as I wrap up on the presentation. This section is brown. This section right here, okay. There's this 30 plus acres here, but 10 acres here in this area we have reserved for the brand new aquarium that Keith Winston and the Brevard Zoo and all those people that work in that wonderful organization are working on. And we're trying to get money for an aquarium. We've got land and infrastructure promises, and we're working with them we've got the space carved out. We're getting the lease all set up, and they're gonna, as we get through the COVID thing, they're gonna commence their capital funds project to get this whole thing together. It's really on its way. Sure, many of you have probably heard about it. We are on board, engaged, and part of it, and we are, I personally am very excited about this thing moving forward. So that's where it's going to be, on the Indian River, on the Banana River, on the southwest side of the port there, and it's coming. Again, I think, as all of you know me, there's no walls around this port. We're a community, we're regional, but we're also a national asset, and we treat ourselves, try to keep ourselves that way, so we support all of our missions as we move forward. With that, we have a picture from the Exploration Tower. I'm happy to take some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Great presentation. Definitely very exciting to see everything that's still happening at the port, and a lot to think through as cruises start back. And of course, we're very supportive of anything that you need on the chamber side. We do have one question that's come through so far in the chat from Carolyn, and she asked if you have any gauge on a time frame of when the cruise will be able to come back ashore.
A wonderful question. I get it every day. And actually the person who's really spearheading it is our CEO, Captain John Murray. He's the one who's engaged. It's tied to the bigger. The answer is we want it to happen as soon as possible, but it's not happening yet. It's tied to the bigger picture of the whole international travel piece, and letting anybody from other countries come in, so it gets clouded in that big national picture versus a local, the local situation we have right here. The bottom line is we have been, and we will continue to vaccinate every crew member who's on those ships, and we do that for the ships. Crew members are all vaccinated. They're ready to come ashore when the between the CDC and the national and the regional and everybody, when they finally get their decision together, we're ready for it. What we're doing right now is we actually, the local ministry, Canaveral Port Ministry there, right on the south side of the port there, we good partners with us. They actually are delivering. They're getting all of the Amazon deliveries to their ministry, and then they're taking them. They took 600 deliveries to the cruise ships last week. So they're helping the crew members as best they can, get the crew members to at least get their goods that they try to get here, and we're trying to work it that way. We're delivering them to the ship, that kind of stuff. But as soon as we can get them off the ship, we're ready to do that.
Awesome, thank you. A question from Larry Lallo, who's the executive director of Myra. A big if, capitalized, if Brightline creates a station in Cocoa at the 528 area at some point, how do you see, or do you see the port interfacing with Brightline?
Absolutely. That we're looking forward to it too. It would be another wonderful transportation node of interface. Now that said, if the question is, do you foresee light rail or something like that going to the port? Absolutely not. Building rail lines over rivers is not an inexpensive cycle, and it's truly, it'd be hard to justify that given the amount of the passengers. But that said, obviously the transportation system here between buses and whatever taxi would work to help get the people from that corner to the port. And so we would support that and so we're absolutely behind getting that stop, and we would certainly help our transportation cycle.
Thank you. New question came in from Gary Solsky. From a workforce perspective and Career Source Brevard, what occupations do you see increasing at the port in the future?
That's a great question. The construction side is never ending. We work with, whether it's local or national construction firms, and they've got more work than they have people. So that's an obvious never-ending one. I can't even, like right now, all the restaurants, but that's everywhere. I'm trying to get port specific, but the restaurants up there have the same challenges every restaurant does around here now. They can't stay open enough to support the demand they have for the people that they have. But the other piece would be again, the commercial space side. That world of commercial space at all levels. There's secondhand support, and then there's working directly with SpaceX and all that sort of stuff. But there are more companies coming in with more. Right now we're doing 50 launches a year, and maybe they'll do 100 next year. But in the next X number of years, they're going to be doing 700 launches, literally 2 a day. What goes along with 2 a day launches, not just for the port but for the whole region, is almost you almost can't get your head around it. But we need to, and so the Career Source Support, and I know you guys well, and I think you're all over that. Go ahead.
Thank you. With that, that's all the questions so far in the chat. I'm going to ask, if you have a question for Commissioner Justice, if you will simply unmute your computer and ask your question, and when you're done asking it, mute back. Want to give everyone a chance.
Bring them on.
We did have a couple of compliments on your presentation being great diversity at the port. Thank you from our chamber chair this year, who's Jim Barfield, for the work that you're doing to bring the aquarium to Brevard. We appreciate that.
Yeah, again, I want to emphasize that again. Of course, the beautiful thing about our county is that a whole lot of people know everybody knows everybody, and we all work on all these different projects. But there's certainly the board of the zoo, who's locked and loaded and ready to move forward with the aquarium thing. We're there, and we understand it. We get it. It really has the potential to be a nice, a real special piece to this county here. So we understand that, and we're on that.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question for Commissioner Justice or for the port in general? Now is your time. If you'll unmute.
Hey, Jen, I have a question.
Hi, Joe. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning. So we know Cocoa Beach has done some tremendous growth in the hotel and lodging industry, even during COVID. Wayne, what is our relationship with the port and with these hotels? I'm sure where there's some support system in place. If you can talk about that.
Yes. Again, those of you who know me, I say we're intricately involved with the hotelier world, both from the support with the people staying there, both with the parking side of it. There's a whole parking business that's robust, all port parking. And then, and most importantly though, then the transitional piece from the hotels to the ships and how you get all that meshed, you know, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, Joe, because what used to be is, you know, everybody get off at the same time for most of the ships, and then you could come and go anytime you wanted to get on. That's not going to happen like that anymore. The cruise lines are going to go to the Disney model, which is you got a time to be there. You have a window. And so no matter where you're coming from, whether it's hotel or wherever you're coming from, you got to be there during this window to get on the ship. Well, that makes the transportation cycle a whole lot tougher because you can't use buses to take a whole lot of people because then they're just going to sit on the bus because it's not their time. So, you know, we're already working on that. We're committed to work the challenges of the many cycles that are going to take. So right now, we charge by the cycle. Well, that's not really fair if you can only take a small amount of people a lot of times. So we're going to have to work on that cycle, that whole charging thing. But my point is, we understand the challenges. We're in this together, and if, you know, again, as those guys know me, and I know those guys and ladies, you know, we're definitely going to make it work, and we're part of the solution.
Thank you. Question come in from Gary at Cursus Brevard. Apprenticeships are on the state radar for funding. Do you hear of anything related to that at the port? It's funny you should ask that question come up. Just what's today, Friday? On Wednesday, we had the Propeller Club at the port, which is it's kind of just like this. It's a group of maritime interested businesses and Coast Guard and everybody else. We have a group up there, and it's more of an information sharing side of thing. We had Senator Tom Wright from the state of Florida, our senator that represents the port, gave us a presentation and talked specifically about that, and talked about the statewide funding for apprenticeship programs. And I'll just say, I'll keep it simple, but the answer is, we understand it, we know about it. There are the businesses at the port have been talked about it, and there's more information flowing on that. Caitlyn, you're on this. I know the port is going to get more involved, but there's good news there is the answer. And it's just a question of getting the information out and then executing it. It's a great question. Thank you. And thanks to the port for allowing us to have Caitlyn come aboard as our co-chair. We're super excited to have her involved.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks. All right, Cheryl asked, what is the timeline, if you know, on the aquarium?
You know, I don't know. When I say that, I mean, I know that we, the port, have finished our negotiations with the zoo, and we've got a lease agreement, all that sort of stuff. It's just got to get signed, really. They've got a capital project cycle that's they've got to get going. I'll be honest with you, I bet Jim Barfield could probably have a better answer to that question than me. Like I said,
I was just going to say that if Jim wants to chime in, I think he's still.
Yeah, like I said, we're part of the solution here. That's all. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, first off, Wayne, I really appreciate it. This is a really good presentation, because it's like, it gives everybody hope now, and everything's coming back, and we need that around here. But it was a very, very good presentation. Looks like a good future. As far as the aquarium goes, right now we're going into the final phase, the second phase, which is final phase of the design. We've done the schematics and everything, and we're moving forward with that. The actual time frame of when we get started is not totally confirmed yet, so I can't really say when that will be, but we do have fundraising going on. We are raising funds. Even during COVID, we were raising funds. So it's exciting. It's exciting because it looks like everything's going to come together, you know, about the same time for the county. And but that's where we are on the aquarium right now.
Thank you. Anyone else that has a question, please just unmute and go ahead. Now's the time.
Okay, as it's drying up, let's just remind everybody that, like, cruises is back, And we got new ships coming in, MSC's coming in with their new ship and new Disney stuff. And it's all time to everybody dust off their bags and pack them and let's go. Shameless pitch.
It's a good pitch, and we love a good shameless pitch at the chamber. My son Emmett wants to know if you have any cruise ship toys available at the port.
Yes, at the exploration tower ground floor, there's stuff to buy.
Wow, that's good news. Thank you. Commissioner Justice, thank you so very much. We really appreciate this presentation. If you have a question you wish you had asked, please feel free to email me. I'll put my information in the chat and we will make sure we get that question answered for you. Thank you so much. We'll leave it open for another couple minutes, and I appreciate everyone attending today virtually.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.